Donald Trump's sick and twisted secret dark past is resurfacing, and we here at the Midas Touch Network are not going to get distracted. MAGA Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert just sat for a very bizarre and odd interview on a number of topics where she was also saying, Congress sucks, we suck in Congress. One of the main things that Trump has trying to distract from over the past few weeks has been the Epstein files and the fact that Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. Now,
they promised us the Epstein files, but all we got was a phone book and some redacted documents. Why is Trump dodging transparency on something this explosive? And what could be hiding in the blacked out sections? Today we're ripping past the smoke and mirrors to reveal what they don't want you to know. Hint, it's not just names, it's secrets that can shake political foundations. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when Trump and his team couldn't stop hyping the Epstein files?
The Epstein files that have been released have Donald Trump's name on them. Donald Trump is in the deposition testimony. We really do need to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. It's hard for me to say this, but I agree with Lauren Boebert there. Epstein brought them to Trump's casinos. A 14-year-old girl testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking criminal trial.
They made it sound like the walls were about to come crashing down. Well, when the files dropped, all we got was a glorified phone book. No big revelations, no smoking gun, just a list of names, scattered notes, and blacked out sections that would make a Sharpie run out of ink. It was less of a bombshell and more of a soggy firecracker. But here's the thing, what's not in those pages might be even more important than what is. Let's be honest, the release of these documents was never going to be straightforward. The FBI's public vault does have some details.
We know that Virginia Giuffre, who recently died by suicide in Australia, when she was a girl, when she was underage, she was working at Mar-a-Lago. She's a woman now, but she said that when she was a 14-year-old girl, she was brought to Mar-a-Lago by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell through a connection, a family connection or something. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, who would scout the girls for Epstein, went to Mar-a-Lago. She was friends with Donald Trump, brought Virginia Giuffre to Epstein.
But most of it reads like a redacted mess. Sure, there are names like Trump's that pop up, most notably connected to properties like Mar-a-Lago, but every time a page starts to get juicy, it's like the FBI said, nope, and took a blackout marker to it. What are they hiding? Connections, timelines, or something more damning entirely? The more you stare at the gaps, the more suspicious it all becomes. And then there's Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General and one of Trump's ride or die defenders. She once claimed she got Epstein's client list handed to her, saying it was right there on her desk.
Epstein's been on Trump's plane before. Trump is quoted as saying Epstein is a great guy who likes women on the younger side. I think Trump was referring to girls. There's videos of Donald Trump partying with Epstein. Trump is on Epstein's phone log. He's on Epstein's call log. He's on Epstein's flight log. Donald Trump would throw beauty pageants for girls, teenagers, for girls. He would then hold boat parties.
Bold statement, right? So what happened? Spoiler alert, nothing. The list never surfaced, and Bondi seemed to move on like she never said it in the first place. It's like someone showing you a wrapped present, only to yank it away and vanish. What was on that list? And why does nobody seem eager to talk about it? It's absurd when you think about it, like being promised the juiciest burger in the world, only to unwrap a soggy piece of lettuce. Between vague references to Trump, redactions that block key details, and the silence surrounding that alleged list, it's hard to know what's being hidden, or who. But the blacked out sections and invisible client list clearly aren't there to protect the public. And if you think that's suspicious, wait till you hear about the videos they wish would disappear. What happens when you're caught on camera having just a little too much fun at the wrong kind of party?
I could keep going on. That's what we know exists. That's out there in the public domain, right? There's the fact that there's a whole other batch of files. Like, for example, the Doe 174 files, sick and disgusting stuff right there. Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition for these little girls. It's just so disturbing to even, see these things. Trump would have his kids hang out with Epstein. Trump's Doe 174 in some of these Epstein cases. If we wanted to find out what Trump did, a document request would say release the Doe 174.
That 1992 footage of Trump and Epstein hanging out is a masterclass in uncomfortable optics. The video shows them at Mar-a-Lago surrounded by women, laughing and pointing like two frat boys who just found out the keg isn't empty. Trump can be seen gesturing towards women and making comments like, "Look at her back there, she's hot." Smooth. If nothing else, it's proof that presidential wasn't the vibe he was going for that night. But let's talk about what's not on camera. Several victims of Epstein and Maxwell's trafficking schemes have testified to creepy encounters tied to Trump-adjacent locations. One survivor, only 14 at the time, mentioned being brought to Mar-a-Lago by Epstein and Maxwell. Virginia Giuffre's name also comes up, a girl who says she was hired to work at Mar-a-Lago but ended up being funneled into Epstein's world of abuse. And this is where things get particularly unsettling. Mar-a-Lago wasn't just a luxury hangout for billionaires and wannabes. It's alleged to have been a hunting ground for predators.
There already is a ton of evidence out there that links Trump to Epstein. Now, I'm sure you remember that Trump and the MAGA crew promised us that they were going to release the Epstein file. Show me the grand jury testimony of the 14-year-old girl who testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. There's going to be a ton of evidence there that links Trump to Epstein. Anna Paulina Luna was the MAGA Republican congresswoman. She promised us in early February we were going to get the Epstein files. Remember, then she posted on February 27, 2025.
The connections don't stop there. Allegations swirl about beauty pageants, a favorite pastime of Trump's, where underage contestants reportedly caught the attention of older men in Epstein's circle. Then there are whispers about private boat parties, gatherings where partygoers included Epstein, young women, and yes, Trump. It paints quite a picture, but not the kind you'd want framed on a wall. Of course, Trump's defenders have tried their best to drown out these stories. Sean Hannity and Charlie Kirk have either sidestepped the questions or spun them into claims of political bias. The real question is, why? If everything is above board, why so much effort to brush it under the rug? The footage alone speaks volumes, and if it makes even his biggest cheerleaders squirm, there's probably a reason. Trump's enthusiasm for the limelight might have worked against him here. These videos and testimonies pull back a curtain he'd much rather keep closed. But the timing couldn't be worse, could it? This isn't just about what's in the files, it's about what they're hiding and why. Tens of thousands of documents exist from Epstein's cases, scattered across civil and criminal trials, yet we're stuck with blacked out pages and silence as answers. Transparency should not be negotiable, especially when it touches on power, money, and abuse. Even Trump's cheerleaders, like Sean Hannity, scramble to downplay these links with excuses like, he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. But what's the real story? The public deserves more than scraps. Because sometimes, the most damning evidence isn't what's missing, it's what's been shoved in plain sight.